on this episode of Conspiracy.
Alright, I'm moving to Finland.
You get a top hat and a sword with your PhD.
Oh yeah, you're all set. That's better than an neti pot.
Finland is too good.
So it's yin and yang, man. We gotta have it.
Finland doesn't exist.
We have negative sales because I bought some.
If none of the Finns fly me and Nick out to Finland, it's a fake country.
What is going on YouTube? What is up? My name is Little Boy. And welcome to Little Boy's Shoebox. Today on Little Boy's Shoebox, we're going to be, well, you don't really want to know what we're going to be doing today, but it involves a shoebox and a lot of ladies and gentlemen. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Welcome to Conspiracy Realists, where we're real, maybe. We could be AI generated.
Yeah, someone took all of Judd Apatow's movies and every conspiracy theory in recorded history and fed them into a AI and asked them to write a script for podcast episodes, and then we put it out and say it's improv so that people can't.
That is it.
Judge it.
That's the true conspiracy. Now that it's out, you will all be terminated.
Thanks for tuning in to this government-funded experiment. I've been Chet Baker, and this has been the Chet Baker Hour.
Where we baked nothing.
Yeah, it's an hour of prepping to bake and not baking. It's the opposite of Rachel Ray, where she would... Well, actually... I guess it is just like Rachel Ray, except instead of doing that thing where she has one pre-made that she immediately pulls out, as like she puts it in the oven. Like, we just didn't do that, and then we ran out of time, so we were just like,
Sorry, folks. Tune in next week where we'll do the same thing. But welcome back to Conspiracy Realists. He's Austin Harvey. I'm Nick Sarnelli, and I've got another conspiracy for you. Well, Austin
I've got
does.
a doozy this week. I always like to set up my episodes like I don't know what we're talking about going in, and I'm trying to like, I always want to like establish a mystery, you know what I mean? Like, I literally title the episodes The Conspiracy Theory, so it's never a secret for anyone listening what we're
For anyone but me.
Yeah, and even this time I told you ahead of time, so there is no surprise.
Yeah, I'm quite aware of what today's
I
is.
will give a little bit of backstory, because the reason I came upon this theory is I was writing an article for Discover magazine about the stigma around adult ADHD, and I talked to this psychologist who I've used her as a source for a few different articles and stuff. We talked for like 45 minutes, and partway through it, she mentioned that in Finland, there's a lower diagnosis rate of ADHD, and she attributed it mostly to their school system, because the Finnish school system is a lot more adaptable, and they let kids be more creative, and instead of punishing kids who are fidgety and who act out, they just readjust how they're teaching. And they also get 15 minutes of recess in between every lesson, which is like,
wow,
awesome. so I went on this whole thing, and I was like, oh man, I want to find out like everything I can about Finland. So here are some facts. Here are some fun facts I found about Finland. That's how I'm going to start this.
Okay.
Finland is known as the land of 1,000 lakes, but they actually have 187,888 lakes.
What the
So many.
That's a lot of lakes. That's so many lakes.
1,000 is a lot. 1,000 is a lot of lakes.
What did you say? What was the number?
187,888.
So over 100,000 lakes. How big is Finland?
Not very big. And 74% of that country is covered in forests.
Jeez.
So I don't know where they're putting these lakes. I have no idea.
That's absurd.
It's an insane amount of water.
Did you get that from Wikipedia?
No, I got it from like Helsinki. It was lifeinnorway.net/Finland-facts if anybody wants to pull up the article and read along.
You want to log on and take a look at these digits.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know how reliable Life in Norway but they have books. They have a podcast. Not that I would promote it, but they have it. So, yeah, 187,888 is the official question mark number.
Okay.
They're the happiest country in the world, according to CNN, as of this year.
Shit.
Pretty much all of them are not Icelandic. What's the word I'm looking for? Not Slavic.
Scandinavian?
Scandinavian, thank you. Yeah, they're all Scandinavian countries. It's like Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Iceland are like the top 5 or 4 or whatever. But Finland, number 1.
Number one.
Number 1. They have their own language, too, which I didn't know. Finnish is its own language, yeah. And they're the only place that speaks it, but apparently it used to be a really widespread thing, and you can kind of just look at a map over the years of it getting narrower.
Huh.
And the Finnish word for Finland is Suomi, and nobody knows why. It's just
that's what they called it. That's what they called it.
They call it Suomi, and then everyone else called it Finland.
Interesting.
Don't know why.
What did Native Americans call America? We don't even know that. We don't even fucking know. And there were so many different tribes, they all probably could have called it different things, or I don't even know if they viewed it as a country or just Earth.
Yeah, the world's pretty f***ed, huh?
On to the next fact.
What else? We got another fact about Finland. They have more saunas than they do cars.
What?
There are more saunas in Finland than there are cars.
We gotta just pack it up and move to Finland.
That's what I'm saying.
That sounds like a utopia.
They have National Sleepyhead Day, where the last person in a family to wake up is thrown into a lake or the sea by the rest of their family.
Well, they've got a lot to choose from.
There's everyone has a lake in their backyard.
They don't have swimming pools because they just have one of 100,000 800 lakes.
That's probably why they have so many saunas. I bet everyone has one. There's a lot of water. Once you finish, no pun intended.
I'm gonna finish all over her chest.
Ooh, Suomi. Oh boy. If you get a PhD after your free college in Finland, you get a top hat and a sword with your PhD.
All right, I'm moving to Finland. That's it. No, that's the deciding factor. I will. Man, you didn't even tell me that much, and that's like, I'm sold.
I know. And I got more. This one's not as exciting, but still kind of cool. Angry Birds was created in Finland.
Of course it was.
They have a sport there, which is just racing, but you're riding a hobby horse.
Hobby horse.
And my favorite fact about Finland, they have a contest called wife carrying.
What does that entail?
You race, you carry your wife or a female teammate. The winner, though, this is the best part. The winner, the man who carries his wife the fastest through this obstacle course, gets the equivalent of his wife's weight in beer.
Whoa. Even a rail thin person would still be...
That's a lot of beer, like, regardless.
That'd be a lot of beer.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of beer.
Like, I guess... And I want to say the reward is greater the bigger your wife is. You gotta... how do I say this? You got a fat mama.
You got Respucia from Norbit. How you doing?
Victor, I've had a really bad time to take a sip of whiskey. Oh, it burned.
You feel it in your nose?
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that'll clear your sinuses up. That's great for allergy
season.
season.
You're all set. That's better than a neti pot.
That is way better. That's better than a neti pot. That's better than Flonase. But yeah, I agree with you. I think we should just pack up and move to Finland. Because it is a country out of a fairy tale. It is the most perfect place on Earth.
It seems too good to be true, to be honest.
I was hoping you'd say that. Because, as it turns out...
Oh, no.
It might be too good to be true. In fact...
All that, and you're going to tell me that it's not real.
Finland doesn't exist. It's not real.
Just not a place that exists. Not a place that exists.
Yeah, it's not even that, like, the facts about it are made up. It is Finland, the landmass, does not exist. There's no land
I mean, please, go on.
Okay. The theory says that since the early 1900s, relations between Japan and the Soviet Union were shaky but discreet. As early as 1925, they had secret agreements regarding each nation's fishing rights, and the Soviet Union gave most of its rights to Japan for seemingly no reason.
Most of its rights to what, fishing?
Yeah, because they share waters, like they're
Yeah, so they gave most of the rights to Japan for whatever reason.
Yeah, Russia was like, go fish. Japanese ambassadors drew a card, and he goes, no, I'm so sorry, I misspoke. You may fish in the ocean, we will not interrupt. But also, no, I do not have a to go fish. They were playing Go Fish while talking about their fishing agreements. That was the joke.
Okay, so in 1925, that...
Yeah, 1925 is like the furthest back these conspiracy theorists have traced secret Japanese-Soviet agreements. They say they continued to establish secret treaties and alliances until the fall of the Soviet Union. Gorbachev frequently visited Japan and bragged about how relations between the two countries were improving, even though Soviet relations with the entirety of the rest of the world was terrible. Kind of like today, yeah. Except no one's on their side. The theory pointed out two or three other weird things. In 1941, the two nations signed a peace treaty, and then Germany immediately went to war with the Soviet Union, and Japan was allied with Germany. And that despite Japan and Russia being so close in proximity during that war, they actually never fought that much. And then throughout the Cold War, they had really good relations despite being ideologically opposed to each other. And at that point, Japan was, we had stripped them of their navy and their entire military. And, that was when Japan started turning into the Japan we know today, which is much more aligned with Western thought. So it was very weird that Russia and Japan had a very good relationship at the time. And the theory says that the reason for that is that in the midst of the Cold War, the two nations devised a plan to their mutual benefit. The Soviet Union knew of a large area of water between themselves and Sweden, which was a prime location for Japanese fishers who wanted to fish without worrying about environmental repercussions. So Japan and Russia came to an agreement. Japan would be allowed to fish in this discrete area of water, and Russia would help keep their secret in exchange for a percentage of the fish that Japan caught. To avoid anyone catching on, they basically asked, where's the last place anyone would impose fishing regulations? The last place anyone would look for people violating fishing law on land. So they invented a country which they said existed between Russia and Sweden, and they called it Finland. And the plan from there was that Japan would get fish from the Finnish Sea, transport it across Russia, which this theory says is the real reason for the construction of the Trans-Siberian Railway. And then from the eastern Russian coast, they would transport the fish back to Japan under the disguise of it being Nokia products. Nokia just so happens to be Finland's largest company, and Japan is the number one importer of Nokia products, despite the fact that very few Japanese people actually use those phones.
That is suspicious.
It is suspicious. So that's the justification for it. And this was from a post on Reddit, from an Ask Reddit thread, as all good conspiracy theories are.
Of course.
But it spawned its own separate subreddit, which I checked earlier has 42,000 active members.
Jeez. Haven't people, been to Finland? Can you visit Finland?
Yeah. Yeah, you can. Yeah. There's a subreddit called It's r/Finland Conspiracy. And the post I found actually has just a frequently asked questions kind of thing at the end of it. My favorite part of that is question, why the name Finland? Answer, the country was originally made for fishing. What do fish have?
Fins.
Thus, Finland. Another question. What about Finnish people? Are they in on the conspiracy? Answer. No. People from Finland genuinely believe they're from Finland. In reality, they are from small towns on either the eastern part of Sweden, the western part of Russia, or the northern part of Estonia.
Jesus.
So all the people who speak Finnish and are from Finland. No, they're not.
That's just what they want you to think.
Question, why do other countries go along with it? Answer, at first it was a sign of goodwill between Western countries and the Soviet Union, a bargaining chip that could be played. But Finland has since evolved to something much more. An idealistic placeholder for what countries should aspire to. No country should so consistently place first in education, healthcare, gender equality, literacy rates, national stability, the least corrupt government in the world, and freedom of the press. It is a concept for countries and people to aspire to. But that's where the problems about Finland's existence is disputed, because no country in the world could possibly be that good.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself is what makes me think the only credible evidence.
It's
Holy
too
shit,
good.
It's too good.
Yeah, it's a paradise. I just love that that's part of the explanation. Like, this theory works because Finland is too good.
It's too good.
It's too good it can't be real.
Nowhere on Earth is that good.
Except for, I guess, eastern Sweden, western Russia, and northern Estonia. That's kind of where this thing starts to fall apart, right? Is let's roll with Finland isn't real. Let's just roll with that as the truth for a moment.
Sure.
People who then think they're Finnish are among the happiest people on the planet and are doing well and are living well and are thriving, even though they're technically split among 3 other countries that one of them is currently at war with Ukraine, and somehow the Western Russians who believe they're Finnish would have to, 1, be unaware that they're involved in this war, 2, speak the same language as people in northern Estonia and eastern Sweden, and 3, be happy existing that way. I mean, at that point, they are just their own.
Yeah, even if they are just Finnish, that if it's evolved to a point where even if that was true, at this point, Finland is just a thing.
Because if they did have bad education or bad healthcare, or there was no gender equality or whatever, in even one of those 3 areas that are allegedly fake Finland, then the whole thing falls apart. But also, I'm not presenting this as a, I don't believe it. I know Finland's real.
Right. So, just funny that it turned into like this giant...
Yeah, it's like a very big deal. There was an Ask Reddit thread. The title was, "What did your parents show you to do that you assumed was completely normal, only to later discover that it was not normal at all?" And a user who goes by Rare Gans wrote, "Oh God, here goes. Well, firstly, they say that the actual place of Finland is just eastern Sweden. Helsinki is in eastern Sweden, and when people fly there, it's not like they would notice. World maps are altered as it's a UN conspiracy to keep people believing in Finland. And the idea that an entire country is made up seems so bizarre that nobody would ever believe it, which makes it easier to do. Finland's main company, Nokia, is apparently owned by the Japanese, and they're a main player in this. Now, as for why people would want to invent Finland as a country, that's a bit more in-depth, and there are a few reasons as to why Sweden and Russia go along with it, but it's mostly to do with Japanese fishing rights. You see, the Japanese love their sushi, but tight fishing regulations and public outcry mean they can't fish as much as they want. So after the Cold War, they agreed with Russia to create a landmass called Finland. After all, if people thought there was a country there, nobody would expect the Japanese to be harpooning whales, would they? The fish are then transported through Russia, where a small percentage of the food is given to the population. They were, of course, starving at the time, and then is shipped to Japan under the disguise of Nokia products. Japan is apparently one of the world's largest importers of Nokia products, despite the fact that nobody there owns a Nokia phone, apparently. The crux of all this, however, and my favorite part, is the homage that the Japanese gave to the entire conspiracy theory. What do fish have? Fins. Therefore, they named their imaginary country Finland. There are loads more that they go on about, but I can't remember it all at the moment. They then later edited the post, so it says, edit, thanks for the gold. I'm amazed how big this has gotten. I told my parents, and although they don't really understand Reddit, they're glad that the truth is being put out there for people to make their own
there is
decisions.
a lot to that, and, like, it's all not... Like, it tracks.
I could buy it if it was one island, not a whole country.
Right, absolutely.
If there was, like, a 30-mile radius in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that Japan was like, that's a really good spot to get fish. And they made up an island. I could buy that. I don't know about a
But they've
whole
got...
country.
Yeah, it just... Finland's real.
It's real. It's a place.
It's a place. People live there.
But it goes further than that, because in 2018, Vice interviewed Rare Gans, whose real name is either Jack or Jake, because the article used both names.
Okay, great.
They called him Jack at first, called him Jake a few times in the middle, and at one point called him Jack and Jake within the same sentence. One, Vice, get your f***ing shit together, guys. That is an editorial big whoopsie-doo. Two, I'm going to roll with Jack, because they used Jack more often than Jake.
Okay.
So Jack told Vice, I was about 8 or 9, and my parents casually brought it up one morning when we were watching the news, and Finland was mentioned. I can't remember the exact wording at the time, but the gist of it was that Finland didn't exist. It didn't seem that big of a deal to me at the time, because when you're a kid, your parents' word is gospel. And then, as I said, that eventually led to the creation of the r/Finland conspiracy subreddit. The tagline is, the truth is thinly veiled. Jack also told Vice he doesn't believe in this conspiracy theory. And he says he thinks like 90% of the people on the subreddit are just taking the piss and joking. The other 10% actually do believe that Finland is not real.
Well, it seems like a flat Earth type conspiracy where it has a huge following, but are most of the people that are part of these communities just doing it
there
for
the
shits?
memes. They're there for the memes and the shit posts. Yeah. He said to Vice, a lot of Finnish people have messaged me about this. Ironically, since the theory came out, I've learned more about Finland and Finnish culture than I think I ever would have. I think a lot of people have. One person even offered to fly me out to Finland a couple years back to prove to me that it exists, but I never took him up on the offer. Which, big mistake in my opinion.
Yeah, you should have went and stayed.
If someone offered to fly me out to Finland tomorrow, I would tell my mom, find another ride to your hernia surgery. I'm going to Finland.
Oh my god.
So this is where I'm kind of deviating from the theory, but there's this thing called Poe's Law. It originated in 2005 on ChristianForums.com when a user named Nathan Poe commented on a thread about creationism, saying, without a winking smiley or other blatant display of humor, it is utterly impossible to parody a creationist in such a way that someone won't mistake it for a genuine article. And I think it's a really interesting point because expressing sarcasm on the internet has always been a very weird gray area. I think recently we started using like the upside down smiling emoji as sarcasm, or on Twitter you'll see like /s at the end of somebody's tweet. But other than that, we still don't have a good way of
Yeah, because I feel like most people that do want to say anything sarcastic or satirical don't want to put the emoji at the end, because then it just like defeats the purpose.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the point of satire is to point out the flaws.
If there may be people stupid enough to believe it, it's the risk you run. Just like me saying, whoa, what's going on YouTube?
I mean, exactly that. It's exactly that. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be good. It's just the irony of it. You could hand someone a copy of, a very naive person, you could hand them a copy of Slaughterhouse-Five, and tell them it's a nonfiction book. And there's enough real stuff in there about like Dresden and World War II that someone could
In
theory, someone could do that, despite the fact that there's time traveling alien stuff in that book. But like the big differentiator is that it's billed as a fiction book and it's in bookstores. But when somebody tweets something, or even just they write a blog post or whatever, if it's satirical and there's no indication, eventually someone's going to come around and think it's real.
Well, it's like a grandma reposting an Onion article to Facebook, thinking that it's real.
I got duped the other day. I was on Twitter and I looked at the trending hashtags, and one of them was I forget the exact wording. It was like unban the Onion or something like that. Uncancel the Onion. It was something about the Onion not being allowed on Twitter anymore was the gist of it. And when I clicked it, it was a hashtag that the Onion started. They
Classic
wrote a fake
Onion.
article.
Classic
and I was like,
Onion.
oh, they got me. I was like, oh man, why was the Onion banned on Twitter? I was like, damn it, they weren't.
They weren't. They were just being themselves again.
Yeah, the idea of like nuance and sarcasm being lost is not new to us,
right.
Obviously. The earliest thing that I could find was in 1983, pre-internet, it was called Usenet, which was a Unix to Unix dial-up network. This guy, and the Wikipedia just calls him by his name to the point where I was like, should I know who this is? But when I Googled the guy's name, it just brought up like random LinkedIn profiles, and then I even tried this guy's name and then Usenet, and it didn't bring up anything relevant. So I'm really sorry to Jerry Schwartz if you are somebody important to the development of the internet. I could not find any information about you. So as far as I'm aware, Jerry Schwartz was just a dude on Usenet in 1983 who wrote, "Avoid sarcasm and facetious remarks. Without the voice inflection and body language of personal communication, these are easily misinterpreted. A sideways smile has become widely accepted on the net as an indication that, quote-unquote, I'm only kidding. If you submit a satiric item without this symbol, no matter how obvious the satire is to you, do not be surprised if people take it seriously."
Is that why boomers do weird smiley faces when they say weird shit?
I think it is.
Now we just need to figure out the ellipse thing.
Hey,
dot. Like, it sounds like they're either dying or, like, so beyond mad or confused about you. But
it's so weird.
If I see ... attached to anything, it's an immediate anxiety attack. That's a visual thing that's a visual trigger that's going to give me an anxiety attack is ...
Yeah, it totally depends who it's from. It's going to be either an anxiety attack, if your significant other texts you, hey, ... Oh, no. Oh,
Kill
no.
me. Just kill me now.
Or the opposite. If I'm your significant other and I say, hey, ... it's either something serious or I'm gearing up for a real bad pun. Which either way be anxious about it, I guess.
It's interesting that this dates back way farther than that, too, because there were satirists, authors like Mark Twain.
Right, yeah, and his books have been controversial since they were written because
some people would have had to have picked them up, read them, and thought, is this guy serious?
But yeah, no, you're totally right. It's like people just miss the point of these things which have been analyzed. At this point, there's no excuse because we talk about it so much. But Wikipedia basically sums up Poe's law in one sentence, saying, without a clear indicator of the author's intent, every parody of extreme views can be mistaken by some readers for a sincere expression of the views being parodied.
In any media. Movies, too. Movies are huge. I mean, some people really hate movies that they completely miss. Or some people worship characters like Walter White or Jordan Belfort without understanding the point.
Right. And the funny thing about Jordan Belfort is he's a real dude.
He's a guy. He's an actual fucking dude.
But that movie makes him out, like, it is not glorifying him. And he himself is making TikToks now, being like, yeah, I'm the fucking Wolf of Wall Street. Like,
yeah, I've seen a lot of them.
We all saw you, man. We all saw Leonardo DiCaprio being you. There's like it's all the alpha male guys that worship him too. It's the grind set, Gary V, fucking like yeah, the pheromones attract females, stupid assholes.
And it's to their credit too, like the fact that you can still enjoy it so much while missing the point is awesome.
The fact that you can go in and be like, this thing that blatantly makes fun of me is dope. Hey man, welcome to the world of being you're a self-parody, bud. That's awesome for you.
We need people like that.
You do, but man, it would be so much better without them.
So it's yin and yang, man. We gotta have
it. It is. I think sometimes we have a little too much yang. Or yin. Or yin. I don't want that to sound racist. We can have too much yin or yang.
It's all equal yin and yang.
We want equal amounts of yin and yang. If you have too much yin, probably bad. Too much yang, also very bad. Just don't clip that out so that I sound xenophobic is what I'm getting at. I don't want anyone being like, yeah, there's too much yang. And then, anyway, in 2017, Wired, the magazine Wired, they called Poe's Law 2017's most important internet phenomenon, which, that was 12 years after it even became a thing. And that was because of the influx of belief. Yeah, the Trump election, the influx in belief in, like, QAnon conspiracy theories, the Pizzagate thing. All of that stuff ends up being part of Poe's Law. Because, I think most people, most sensible people, and if I alienate a part of our audience here, I'm not upset about it. Most rational people are like, yeah, the vaccines are a good thing and Trump was a bad president. And if you disagree with that statement, sorry, bye. I'm not going to tolerate it. But there are, that's like a more serious example of Poe's Law where, like, especially QAnon becoming this big thing. I found a few more examples that are actually along the same lines as Finland not existing. I'm going to be honest, all of them are blank does not exist. And these are, they just turn into conspiracy theories. The first one I found was giraffes don't exist.
Giraffes?
It was a satirical subreddit that says giraffes are government drones because, quote unquote, how can a mutated leopard moose camel with a 40-foot neck actually be real?
I've fed the giraffes.
Yeah, I've gone through Living Treasures Animal Wild Park and handed giraffes carrots and they've wrapped their weird purple tongues around them and I felt it. You can't fake a tongue that real. I've been to the adult mart. You cannot fake a tongue that realistically. Anyway, one time a friend of ours tried like 30 different kinds of flavored lubes at the adult mart. So I've seen, I'm not weird for going there and feeling the fake tongues. So because I didn't eat the lube.
No, absolutely. That's
someone else
normal.
did that. Someone else did that. So I did the normal stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. It's all good in the hood.
Another theory, Australia doesn't exist. This one originated in 2006, and oh my god, shocker, the Flat Earth Society promoted this.
Whoa, I don't believe you.
The most trustworthy organization on the flat Earth. They said that Australia is an imaginary land enforced by a... This is my favorite part. Australia is a quote unquote, imaginary land enforced by quote unquote, a really secret government agency.
A really secret.
They're really secret, guys.
They're not just regular secret. I feel like secret in nature is an end of the spectrum. You can't be really secret. You're secret or you're not.
I guess if you're secret, no one's talking about you if you're truly secret. But that doesn't make you really secret. That would just make you secret. Maybe the CIA is not secret, they're seedy. Or they're just a government agency. And we're not supposed to know everything because we're not government. Another similar theory is the... and I did eventually want to do a full episode on this, but I really don't think it's worth the time because of the nature of it. Birds aren't real.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought about it too, but just...
So the whole point of Birds Aren't Real is that it is making fun of stuff like QAnon and misinformational conspiracy theory. So it's like not even worth diving into it because...
Right. It's just a parody of these baseless internet theories.
Yeah, and they're very upfront about that.
Yeah.
So I respect it.
Yeah, it's not worth...
Very big kudos to the Birds Aren't Real folk.
The feather folk.
But I'm not going to do a whole episode on it. And the last one I found along the same lines was that Wyoming doesn't exist. And you'd think, based on previous theories, that this was also a satire.
Oh, no.
But it isn't.
Oh, no.
I found an AP News article.
Whoa.
And it revealed to me that the r/Wyoming doesn't exist subreddit has 24,000 members, and that is double the amount of members the official Wyoming subreddit has.
Oh, no.
The core of this theory is that Wyoming is such a big state, but so few people live there that it's not hard to imagine it isn't even a thing. And people who believe in this will ask questions like, well, have you ever met someone from Wyoming? And have you ever been to Wyoming? And most people say no to both of those things.
That's fair. I say both to both of those. I say no.
Right.
I say
and
no
you
to
travel more than I do, because I've been to a very limited number of geographical locations.
Let's go to Wyoming.
We should go to Wyoming just to prove it. The Associated Press actually interviewed one of the subreddit's moderators. His name was Wyatt Brisbane, and he told them that it started off completely away from Reddit. When he was in high school, him and his friends had a running joke where they would just go, Wyoming, it's not real. Lowest in population, last in the alphabet, lowest of all the lists. It's not real. It's all a big conspiracy. And then he found other people online who were also saying the Wyoming's not real, and they started a subreddit.
Jeez.
And I think it's so funny. I think it's so funny because it's like the opposite of what you and I were saying about the Jersey Devil and the Hat Man, where we were like, oh, these things are real because they're so prevalent and they have been so culturally dominant. And like the Jersey Devil is on NewJersey.com. Like it's a part of New Jersey history, real or not real from a tangible physical perspective.
Right.
That we were like, yeah, I mean, it's real. It's real one way or another. It's real in people's mind. And the Hat Man was the same way. He's, you know, even if you want to say the Hat Man is a figment of everybody's imagination around the world, the fact that that many people have seen the Hat Man means that it's real in some capacity. This is the exact opposite thing where it's like, because Wyoming is so scarcely populated, we've only ever read about Wyoming, therefore it can't be real. They interviewed people from Wyoming and they were so upset about it.
I bet.
They were like pissed.
Like, what the f***? I'm literally right here and I live here.
Dallin Brazelton is the person they interviewed. And they are they're one of the moderators of the Wyoming Does Not Exist subreddit. And they said, this is the only thing that Wyomingites have. We're not super prevalent in the media for anything else. This is our thing. I know a lot of people from Wyoming who are super interested in this idea because it's finally our chance to be in the spotlight. But I also think it's just fun for people to be part of a quote-unquote conspiracy theory that doesn't harm anybody.
Fair enough.
That is all of the... That's everything I have for this week's theory.
It's just interesting the idea that a whole place, a whole country, could not exist. What would go into faking the existence of a country?
And the idea that, like, every part of the UN eventually found out, and they all just went, oh yeah, we should keep this going.
Who are they keeping it going from? Themselves?
Right! And also the idea that they would all decide what the perfect country is and then not implement those laws.
Yeah.
Like they look at they go, oh, what if we did this for the education system and we had gender equality and we had all these amazing things. And everyone goes, yeah, that would be amazing. Perfect. Let's not do it.
Yeah, we're not going to do it, but wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be great? Like, just do it then. Just do that. So, with all of that being said, I would like to offer two things to the people of Finland. One, a sincere apology from this American citizen to you folk for one of our people perpetuating the idea that you're not real. I believe in you, Finland, or Suomi, if that's what you want to be called.
If you guys are more online with that, we're cool with that too.
Yeah, if that's your jam, that's my jam. I'll put it all up on my toast. Right. And number 2, I'd like to say to the people of Finland, I don't think you're a real country, and the only way you can prove it to me is flying me out there to see it for myself. And I won't take no for an answer.
If you don't do it, you're not real.
Yeah.
So you got an easy decision to make.
If none of the Finns fly me and Nick out to Finland, it's a fake country. Step up, Finland, or step down from your position as the happiest country on Earth. On an unrelated note, bathwater sales are at an all-time low.
That implies that there were like dips and valleys. That implies that there was more than just nothing at one point.
We're negative. We're negative.
I bought some of our bathwater.
I bought some just to get the metrics up, but now I am.
Now we're in the hole.
Yeah.
We're in the hole.
So it's a really tragic situation.
We have negative sales of bathwater because I bought some. I bought one of my own, which is insane because I just gave myself money.
You know what's more upsetting? I only bought yours. I didn't buy my own. I didn't buy the hybrid kind. I only bought yours.
I wanted to do a taste test. I put all 3 in clear glasses and mixed them around, and I wanted to see which one tasted the best.
Which one tasted the best?
Well, like many things, the hybrid.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It has both best of both worlds.
Your acidity, your natural acidity, and the baseness of my sweat.
It's really, the pH is out of this world.
You can't get a better pH. I guess what I'm trying to get to here is 2 things. Is we really want to go to Finland.
Right.
It sounds amazing. And the benefit for our listeners is there are so many saunas in Finland that you're getting premium bathwater.
If somehow we get to Finland, our bathwater will be amazing.
It's basically a second-hand trip to Finland at that point.
Yeah, absolutely is. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, we'll brand it as Austin and Nick's Finnish bathwater.
Right, Finnish bathwater.
We will. It'll be a limited release.
Right.
There will only be 100. What's the number? There will be 187,888 vials of bathwater, each one from an individual lake in Finland. And when supplies are gone, they're gone. You know, we will take one bath in each of the lakes in Finland and then bottle it up and send it to you directly. So not only are you getting Austin and Nick Conspiracy Realist bathwater, you're also getting, trademark this, copyright, a taste of Finland. You're getting a taste of Finland. It is the happiest country on the planet. You are getting a taste of it. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening to this episode of Conspiracy Realists. If you want more of that conspiracy realist, just that goodness,
the gooey fondue, the ganache.
The ganache. Oh, you want it. If you want more.
You want it.
That shit. Check out our website at conspiracyrealist.ghost.io, where we have been semi-frequently posting stuff about conspiracy theories.
We try. Life's busy.
Hey, life's busy. We got jobs. And to all the Finns out there, yo, what it is. Invite me over. Take me to Finland. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Or folks, sorry. I'm sorry. I should be more inclusive. I do unfortunately default to a heteronormative cisgender point of view sometimes, and I say, hey guys, and I do mean to include everybody there, but I know that language is not inclusive. So, hey folks, hey people, hey humans. I like hey humans, actually. I'm gonna roll with that. Hey humans. Thanks for listening to this episode of Conspiracy Realists. If you enjoyed it, please give us a 3-star or more rating on your app of choice. I won't beg for 5. I would prefer 5, but I understand 3. Send us an email of duck pictures and nothing else.
Nothing else.
To 2guys1truth@gmail.com. Tune in next week. We'll have another one for you. Share this on MySpace.
Yo mama.
Share this. Spread this on your mama's thighs.
Checkmate, bitch.